Care de Opantes, Cousin Leonidas here. It's currently the third time I started recording this. The first time it was because my microphone wasn't in fact plugged in, so that was kind of wasted effort. Okay, second, if doesn't matter. Okay, so let's just say that I'm the winner of the most boring voice on YouTube for 3 years running. Let's have a look at what we're doing today. So, long story short, it's the Nativity tomorrow for the Orthodox Church. Okay, so we are going to be looking at a text on the Nativity. And if I were harder working, I would have done this on the 24th, but our Orthodox brethren are very important too, so let's do that. So let's have a look at some Greek. All right, so some brief comments about this. Okay, so there are 4 Gospels, of course, so there's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Matthew, Mark, and Luke are the synoptic Gospels, meaning that they have the same basic vision, okay, and John is kind of special. And there are only 2 of those Gospels that actually talk about the nativity of Jesus. Now, we're actually not going to get onto the nativity, we're just going to do the first verse. So there we can see an icon, and as you can see, it's got neither Russian nor Greek on it. It says St. Luke, so there we got Luke. And let's get into the text. Now, as you know, my pronunciation is more classical Greek rather than Church Greek or modern Greek, so please forgive me if you don't like it. Okay, you might fast forward by about 20 seconds. So we got egeneto den tais hemerais ekenais ex elthen dogma para Kaisaros Augustou apograpethai passanten oikumene. Let's have a look at that. All right, so not too complicated today. Let's have a look, and we'll talk about a few of the kind of more standard grammatical points. Okay, and we'll mention about some things which are kind of standard within biblical texts. Okay, so first of all, we've got the egeneto. Now we can look at that verb and we can say this comes from the verb gignomai, meaning to become. Okay, it doesn't look much like gignomai, does it? That's because in various tenses, the stem actually changes. So if we think very simply about, say, the English verb run, and the past tense is ran, so the stem changes. Not very much, but it does change. Okay, we've got the same thing here. So gignomai meaning to become. Now gignomai will be I become. Now we've here got a past tense, and we've got etor, so that's not I'm putting it myself, which you can't see. That's actually it, he, she, or it. But there's no subject, so it's not going to be he or she. So it came about. So literally it became. It came about. In. Okay, so just the same as in English, basically, same word. We've got tais in the hemerais. Now we've got the word in modern Greek, imera. So we've got like kalimera. Okay, so we've got this meaning a day. Okay, it's got a rough breathing in classical Greek. Okay, unlike in modern Greek. Okay, and then we've got ekenais, which means those. So it came about in those days. So we've got the tais is just a definite article. So Greek, unlike Latin, has a definite article. So like English, Italian, or German, or French, etc. Okay, while Latin doesn't have a definite article. I believe that Russian doesn't either. All right, so what came about? Okay, so it came about, okay, exelten. We're not going to have a indirect statement here. So we've got exelten. Now that's going to be an error, so it's going to be past tense as well. Okay, it's going to be a different kind of past tense from this one. Okay, so we've got XL then. It's still going to be, this subject is going to be he, a she, or an it. We can tell that by the ending. Okay, and we have, okay, let's have a look at the subject. So we have dogma para Caesaros Augustu. Okay, let's stop there. So it's going to be one of those words. So if we were just kind of shooting blanks in the dark, it might be any of those words. But if we look up the words in a dictionary, we find the only words that could be only one word can be a subject, and that's going to be dogma. So dogma is going to be a degree. So decree, not a degree. Okay, so if we think of the English word dogmatic, that means, okay, if you're talking about a person, someone who stands by an idea through thick and thin. And we have, in the Asterix comics, we have a dog which is called Dogmatics, which, if you think about it, is a very clever joke. Okay, so we've got dogma, a decree. Okay, exelten. Now, elten comes from the verb erkomai, meaning to go, and exerkomai would mean to go out. So we have a decree. Sorry, let's try and say that again. Decree. I can barely say it. It's like Benedict Cumberbatch trying to say penguin. Okay, so a decree came out. Para. Now, if we look in a dictionary at what para can mean, it can mean a number of things. But let's look at the words that follow. It's going to be a preposition of some kind, which means it affects the words that come after. So we got Caesaros, and we got Augustu. Now, first of all, if we look at Caesaros, we can say that that's like either the German word Kaiser or the Russian word Tsar, or it's kind of like the Latin name Caesar. So Kaiser would be how we pronounce it in actual Latin. So I think it's going to be that. So it's going to be the emperor. Okay, which emperor? Augustus, so Augustus. Now what's going on here? We can really tell from this word, this has got to be genitive. So of Augustus. So the para is going to take the genitive. So on the part of the Emperor Augustus. So we would expect in classical Greek to see the preposition hupo, maybe. Para would still work, or maybe pros. So it has the idea of some kind of distance. So it's not like Caesar Augustus has actually got a scroll in his hand. It's not the ancient equivalent of Vladimir Putin or Joe Biden unrolling a scroll and saying, hear ye, hear ye. All right, so we've got a decree came out. Now we're going to expect that we're going to have either an explanation of the decree, which is what we're going to get, or we're going to get an indirect statement. Or this is kind of taking the place of, I suppose it can be an indirect statement, but it's also an indirect command as well. So let's have a look at that. So if you're giving a decree, it's saying what people have to do. Okay, so blah, blah, blah. Okay, chicken in every pot, etc., etc. I don't think my chicken will be very happy with me saying that. All right, so let's have a look at that. I think I'm missing a new there. I don't think I've copied and pasted that quite correctly. It may work without. Okay, so we've got passanten oikumene. Now, I think it's translated in many texts. I just took a hasty glance at a King James text, which I'm aware is not the best one. Okay, and the oikumene meaning the whole world. Okay, so if we're looking at why that actually means that, okay, oikeoi is to live, and we've here got a participle acting as a noun. So all the places that are lived in. Okay, and a decree that all the places that are lived in the whole world. Now I don't think it literally means the whole world, because the Romans literally did not control the whole world. Okay. All the places that were lived in or ruled by the Romans, the whole Roman Empire, I think it translates that in my Greek New Testament. Okay, apograpsesthai. Okay, now that form is an infinitive. Now, what I always say is that when we find these verbs, a complicated verb, we break it down into something we can work with. So we take the apo out. So apo, you might remember from a previous video, means from or away from. It's not going to mean that here. So we got the word, say, apology. Same thing. Apologos. Okay, so we've got an apo, and then we've got a grapsesthai. So that's going to come from the verb graph4, okay, which we might be able to recognize from the English noun graphite. So what's in a pencil? So graph4 is to write. Now this form is an infinitive. That means to do something or to be done something. And it's a passive infinitive. So we've got that the whole inhabited world, or whole Roman world, okay, be enrolled in a census, apograpsesthai. And I believe in the King James Version it says to be taxed. Okay, so let's go through that once more and put it all together. So, it came about. Okay, I'm pointing with my mouse, you can't see that. In those days, a decree came out from Caesar Augustus. That indirect command, I think, that will be better than indirect statement, that the whole Roman world be enrolled in a census. Okay. Well, okay, that's all we got time for, folks. So we will say stay safe. That's very, very important to everyone. So in these dark and difficult times. And also have a very good day tomorrow. So whether you celebrate the 7th or not, okay, it might be a time to kind of reflect on these words. And we will hopefully talk to you another time. Okay. Kia rete.